everyone, and welcome to Crash Course U.S. History. I'm John Green. In this episode, we celebrate the end of the Civil War! Yay! That creates a bit of a problem. So now what? Well, freedom was to the newly freed slaves an end to all the atrocities associated with slavery. Most blacks now wanted an economic redistribution, including land. Others wanted legal equality and opportunity, but every single free slave wanted independence from white control. Now, the white people in the South were butthurt and wanted little to no interference from the North or the federal government in their Reconstruction. Also, since the majority of the battles in the Civil War were fought in the South, their towns and fields were destroyed, so they needed kind of a lot of Reconstruction in that area. Also, 20% of the adult white men in the U.S. are now gone, and now all the planters had no free way to, well, plant, and they feared that they might actually have to do the work themselves. Now, the Republican politicians in the North were also worried because now the Democrats in the South threatened the legislative plan of railroads, tariffs, banks, and currency, and most wanted to punish the South for leaving the Union and starting the Civil War in the first place. Lincoln's plan for Reconstruction was one of peaceably attaining Reconstruction, but he didn't get the chance to see it through because guns are bad. Lincoln was assassinated at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. on April 14, 1865 by John Wilkes Booth in a booth. Oh, irony. The North went crazy and started pointing fingers at the South, but that didn't get anywhere thanks to militant Republicans, and now Andrew Johnson is now president, but not a very good one. We're done.
So, in 1865 and 1866, the Southern state legislatures passed laws known as the Black Codes, which gave whites power over former slaves, and that included the prevention of farm ownership and certain jobs. So Congress reacted by widening powers of Freedmen's Bureau. That was a federal government agency which helped distressed freed slaves during the Reconstruction era. And so it was initiated by Abraham Lincoln, but so they just made it bigger to nullify or get rid of agreements forced on blacks from the Black Code. And then later in 1866 they passed the first Civil Rights Act, and that was made blacks U.S. citizens and gave power to federal governments to intervene to protect the rights of the citizens. And President Johnson vetoed both of those bills, but Congress overrode him on both of them. And then in April of 1866, the 14th Amendment was added to the Constitution, and so that offered the first constitutional definition of American citizenship, which was a big deal. And that was that anyone born in the U.S. or naturalized were automatically citizens and were guaranteed all of the rights of the Constitution. And so then there were a lot of Southern race riots in which blacks were the principal victims, and those helped lead to an overwhelming Republican majority in the Congress, most of whom were congressional radicals. The Radicals passed 3 Reconstruction bills in early 1867, and they overrode Johnson's vetoes of all of them. And those bills established a coherent plan for Reconstruction. And then later they passed the 1867 Tenure of Office Act, which forbade the president to remove civil officials without the Senate's consent. And then they passed the Command of the Army Act, which meant that there could be no military orders except through a commanding general of army or with Senate approval. So President Johnson, as far as the radicals were concerned, was a serious impediment to their plans for Reconstruction. He vetoed all of the bills, basically. And so they tried to impeach him, but the impeachment vote was 1 vote short of the constitutionally required 2/3 majority. And so then they dropped the impeachment effort and he finished off his term. The end.
Oh hey, okay, sorry, record, stop.
Okay, let's do it again. We'll cut that.
Okay.
In 5, 4, 3.
Was it?
Oh my god. Dude, it was already filming?
Yes.
I thought you stopped it, that's why.
No, it's filming this whole time.
I was waiting.
5, 4, 3, 2,
Go!
Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Alright, moving on sections. In 10 states of the South, there were, shit.
Just keep going, just keep going.
Okay, sorry, okay. I'm gonna do that all over again. Okay, I'm going. Oh hey, I didn't see you there. So moving on to the next section. In 10 states of the South that were reorganized under the constitutional plan, approximately 1/4 of the whites excluded from voting in office. These restrictions later lifted, but Republicans kept control with support of many Southern whites called scallywags. That's a word. Scallywags. Alright, most Republicans
Yeah?
Excuse me? Okay, most Republicans, however, were black freedmen who created black churches that gave them unity and public confidence. Or, political. I'm gonna do that one again.
Good enough to buddy that time.
Okay, most Republicans, however, were freed black men who created black churches that gave them unity and political self-confidence. Education was very important, and it provided whites and blacks education in school systems. Keep in mind that the systems were divided into black and white communities. A great percent of whites and blacks went to school. There were 400 schools by 1870. Among the whites, there was a significant decline in land ownership from 80% to 67% by the end of the Reconstruction period. Most people did not own land during Reconstruction. Many black agriculture labor workers worked for wages only. Oh my God. Farmers did not have a steady cash flow, so they relied on credit to buy what was needed without competition stores. The stores charged incredibly high interest rates. There was a major black response to Reconstruction, and that was the effort to build or rebuild family structures. Reason why many immediately left the plantations was to seek relatives and family. Economic necessities required many black women to engage in income-producing activities. Thank you! And now it's time for the mystery document! Okay, so if I read this, guess the correct author, I just get a gold star, and if I lose, I get shocked by this pen that I hate. Okay. The Ku Klux Klan was a necessary organization and did much to discharge weak white men and ignorant Negroes from lowliness. When the Ku Klux Klan wished to get rid of an undesirable white man or Negro, they would put an empty coffin at the undesirable person's front door. It usually caused the worn one to disappear. Although not a Ku Klux, one night I witnessed a parade of white sheeted riders and recognized my own horse in the parade. In the morning, my horse was in his stable as usual. I asked no question about the occurrence until years afterward. So I'm not even 50% sure of who that is. So I'm gonna give my best guess is
Wrong.
Alright, I guess I should just get this over with.